Hello everybody and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Sunday and we're going to be finishing this page and as you can see it does all work together. I'm going to be doing the clouds as well as the water here, and then we will be moving on to another work in progress I have in progress that is watercolor, which is Flora. So we'll be moving on to that with the Gansai Tambi watercolor paints. We're going to be doing this part in the Winsor Newton Designer Gouache. And that is the plan for today. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Christina. Welcome, welcome. So I've got some of the gouache on my brush here. I'm just putting some water on there. Because I've already had some gouache on my palette, I'm just going to re-wet it, get it working again, and then we'll start adding those clouds. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and see if we can get into here without having to move it too much. Alright, and then we're going to go this way because we want to have the whole page in there. There we go. Alright, now we're just going to come in here and we're going to fill in the clouds. Hello to everybody out there in Lurker Land. Hello Angela, hello Alex, welcome, welcome. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. I know that tomorrow's a holiday for most people. I know that Bob's on holiday tomorrow, but I am not. I have work tomorrow, so I'm still in the middle of doing laundry for the week and all those normal Sunday things. Just adding a little bit more water, getting it a little bit more wet, picking up more of that paint. Oh, ouch. Well, I hope she's okay. I had a friend of mine that had a brown recluse bite recently, and that was scary enough. Spider bites are horrible. So once we're done with the paint, we'll come through with the stickles and get this one all glammed up, and then we'll move on to our other page that we're going to be working on as well. Yeah, no, it's a government holiday, so it should be a holiday for students, even with online classes. And I'll come back through after the gouache is dry and add the separation in the clouds with some gray pencil. Just like I did on the other page. Hello, Grizzly! Yes, that is exactly what it is. I'm celebrating the final days of summer here, getting some summer themes out of the way. Getting those clouds inputted here. I hope things are going well for you. Are we going to be seeing a larger Grizzly pencil set? I don't need any more pencils, but that is one set I would buy. Alright, and there we go for our clouds. Like I said, we'll come back through with the colored pencil and get that taken care of for the gray areas. Oh, nice. That sounds like fun. Well, if you ever get a larger set of colored pencils, let me know. My email address is listed below the videos, or you can just type in email me and that will get you my email address as well. Now we're going to work on the water, so I'm going to move you down a little bit. And I'll try not to make too much of a mess of it. Alright. Now I'm going to try not to move it around a whole lot for you. And we're going to use a smaller brush, of course. I'm going to use some clean water. We might need to put a little tiny bit more paint down just to make sure that it's nice and really white. Hello, Gia. Welcome, welcome. Alright. Now we're going to come in and we're going to fill in the little puffs of foam. As well as some of the streaks in the water. Now if you find that your paint isn't flowing right and feels a little gummy, just add a little bit more water to it. With the gouache, you can add water or not add water. If you don't add water, it behaves more of a acrylic type paint. If you add water, it can react more like a watercolor paint. If you add just a little bit, you get a little bit of both worlds, where it gets flowy like watercolor, but you still have the opaqueness of the acrylic. There are so many really talented artists out there on the YouTube that work both in acrylics, watercolor, gouache, all of those things. I am not one of those people. I just dabble in it and hope it looks good when I'm done. Usually quite surprised. Thank you. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. I do appreciate it. Usually the one most surprised that it actually turned out. Yes, it is definitely fun to try something new. I get stuck on my colored pencils, and I have so many other mediums that I don't try often enough. It's always good to add a little more fun to it. Yes. Well, actually, I was really surprised with Rita Berman's book. It did play quite nicely with the addition of the gouache. I am really surprised with that. But yes, definitely have to be careful what paper is in the book and judge how much water you're putting down and whether or not the paper is accepting it or just falling apart, because some paper will just fall apart. And that's when you get that peeling paper effect. But Rita's books are taking it like a trooper. And afterwards we will be doing some watercolor in Christine Caron's artist grade book. Her artist books take that watercolor a little bit nicer than the regular coloring books do. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's not that they have bad paper, it's just paper is very subject to um, different techniques, different mediums, um, that sort of thing. Like, for example, a friend of mine was trying to color with colored pencils on a extremely smooth paper. And, you can do it. It is possible. However, you have to use the right technique to get that colored pencil to blend properly and give you that depth in color. So yeah, paper is very important, but technique with that paper is also very important, especially with colored pencils and watercolor and all of those things. Sometimes you can watercolor on the worst colored pencil paper. You just have to be very careful how much water you put in it and how much movement you use with your brush. If you're scrubbing with your brush, it's going to lift the paper. But always do a test spot. It'll give you a better idea of what the paper is going to accept and what the paper is not going to accept. Or just do what I do and just wing it and just go along with it as it crumbles and turns into dust. That's usually what I end up doing. All right, almost done here. That's it for the wash. I think I'm going to put a little bit more on the clouds just to make it a little bit darker. Yep, yeah, exactly. Now, if you're going to use a fixative spray as well as a different medium on top of that fixative spray, you might want to be careful what medium you're going to use on it. Sometimes if you use fixative spray and then try to go over that fixative spray with pan pastel or something, it's not going to stick as well. You'd have to do a couple of extra sprays of the fixative spray afterwards. But yes, absolutely awesome tip. All right, there it is. I lost where I put my brush. Just going to go straight with the white, and we're going to go a little bit brighter white at the tips here. And then when this dries, we'll come back in and we'll put the gray in over top of the edges where the clouds meet, where you have that deeper gray color when you look at a cloud. Yes, always test. It all depends upon the pencil. I don't find if you do a spraying properly with a fixative, especially a colored pencil fixative, I do find that the bleeding is minimal. But if you do it in like a really heavy spray of it and soak your paper, of course you're going to bleed those pencils. But if you do it first, it'll give you that texture that colored pencils need to grab hold of. So if you're working on a really smooth piece of paper, use a little bit of fixative on it first so that the pencils have that ability to grab. You don't even have to leave it, well, you shouldn't leave it wet. You should, spray it, let it dry, and then color on it. Make sure that your ink is dry from your printer or, that sort of thing. And the page has not got a type of ink that's going to run. And it should be fine. I've used that trick using coloring on paper that's supposed to be for markers. Before I started being able to even use markers, I used to spray a fixative on it to use my pencils on it because I was more comfortable using my pencils. Yeah. Yeah, it works great in like the Kevin Teo art books that are really, really smooth paper, that sort of thing. All right, now we're going to take our glitter. Glitter. So I'm going to take my stickles, and we're going to start with the little spots on the purple. I'll look up here in just a second so I don't bloop all over the place. There we go. Like Kirby's, yes. Sometimes Kirby's books are quite smooth. I like Kirby's paper, though, for colored pencils. Yeah, that's the one I work to. That's the one I use too, Grise, is the Crayon workable fixative. I have tried the colored pencil fixative. However, I do find that it is not reworkable. So once you have it down, it does not allow you to erase very well. No. No, my stickles never bleed through my page. All right, now we're going to use an orange. So that one was lavender. And this one is grapefruit. No, stickles usually just sits on the top of the paper. Doesn't usually soak in. All right. Now for the little dangly parts, we're going to use, I think we're going to use a purple liquid pearl for that. So let's use this one. So this is Ballerina. Just going to make sure that my nozzle's clean. There we go. There we go. And then down here on the shoes, we're going to use some more of that grapefruit. Because, you know, shoes need to be sparkly too. I don't want to push too hard because it's a small area. I want the sparkle to be there, but I don't want it to burst into other areas. So one of the many things I like about the stickle bottles is they have a really, really nice small nozzle. And did I miss one? Yeah, I did. And a little tiny bit more there. There we go. Now, is there anywhere else that I'm going to take a gel pen now, and we're going to use this pink, and we're going to fill in the little floral spots here. Being very careful not to put my hand in the stickles. I should have done this before I did the shoes, but that's okay. We live, we learn, right? Alright, and then nice ones up here. See, there I go. Stuck my hand right in it. I'll fix that here in a second. Let's fix that. So how do you fix stickles if you get your hand in it? Just take a damp brush. Make sure it's damp, not wet. And you can just move that off. Like so. There we have it. I'm going to zoom you out. And we'll look at the whole page all at once. And there we have the entire thing all done. Oh, I'm sorry, it's going to rain. I was hoping it would rain here, but... And, you know, I don't know if you can see the sparkle, but there's sparkle on there. And sparkle on the shoes. Alright, so that's done. I'm going to put this aside, let it dry. I'm going to come through just like I did on here and put some of that gray back in between the clouds to put that separation back into them. But otherwise, everything else is all finished. 2-page spread, done! Now, we have this one that I've been working on, and I'm not overly proud of it yet. I'm a little bit concerned about the way it looks, but we'll work with it, and it will be everything is an experiment to me, so that's the joys of playing with things, right? Is experimenting and getting things to work the way you want them to, or not, you know. So I'm going to use the Gansai Tambi. I'm going to start up at the top here with some of the... Hello, Sue. Hello, Marilyn. Thank you. Thank you both. So we're going to start with some of the Gansai Tambi. I'm going to start with, I think this color, which is Sap Green Light. And we're going to start with some of these. And I'm going to come through and I will thin that down a little bit just because I feel that it's a little too thick. Once we get some on the page here, because these are really small areas. All right. So in order to thin that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse my brush really good. And then I'm going to put clean water on it. Thank you. And then we're just going to pick some of that paint up to reveal the lineage underneath, and just move a little bit of that around and take up some of that heavier green color and just move it around, thin it out so that we can see the lines beneath. And that gives us that bright color, but it still gives us a little bit of that drawing underneath as well. And I'm going to zoom you in so you can actually see what I'm doing. Wouldn't that be nice of me? Let's move it up here. And then you can actually see what I'm talking about. Thank you, Angela. And thank you, Christina. Yes, I needed to zoom it back in and I didn't, so thank you very much for the reminder. I'm using a paper towel to take off the excess water from the brush because I don't want it too wet. Otherwise we end up with nasty paper. So be careful of how much water you have on your brush. Make sure that you have the amount of water on the brush that the paper can take, and try not to use the dirty water for adding to the paint itself. Alright, I'm going to put that on the palette because I don't want too much on the brush. These little tiny delicate areas. Like so. Oh, I want to rinse that. I want to bring that color in a little bit and through the background. Just lightly. Like so. I think I want to do that throughout the entirety of it. So I'm going to come back over here. We're going to bleed that down and into the background areas. I like the look of that, so. Like that. Alright. Yeah, well, sometimes having them all over the place is just a random thing that happens when you're coloring. Okay, I'm going to use the brush to move that around, thin that down in the leaf. Yeah, it's one of those things that as colorists we end up doing. We put them where all in one spot, and then when that one spot starts getting full, they just start migrating everywhere else. Now I'm not just going to maintain all one color for the greens. I am going to add other green colors, but we're going to start with the one. And there's no point moving on from that one until we get to the end of it, if that makes any sense. Okay, so we're going to continue on with the greens. I use flags. I did find that if you leave post-it notes on there too long, that the sticky part of the post-it note does leave a residue that I didn't like, so I find flags work better. I'm going to put a little bit of water on this color. So I'm going to use hooker green. No, I'm going to use sap green. I use a little spray bottle with a little bit of water in it to spray on my paint to get it moist. And if I find that the paint is too heavy on the brush, I'll put it on the palette, and then I'll rinse the brush and pick up from the palette. That's a little bit too wet. I think I need a little bit of this one. There, that's better. Yeah, like that. Like so. I don't know. Yeah, especially if you leave it for a long time, I do find that the sticky part of the stick-it notes will stick to the page. But if you're just using them temporarily, it shouldn't affect it. Just don't use them, overuse them. Don't leave them on there for a week or a month or 2 years, like mine. I have found stick-it notes stuck to a page that were like much too long for them to have been on there, and it does not do well for the paper. Just taking some water and just bringing that out, giving it more of that watercolor effect. And then we're going to dry that off. So Scotch tape, that all depends. You might be able to get away with acrylic on it, but colored pencil probably won't ever cover it. All right, now for the flowers, we're going to go with this palette and a little bit of this palette. So I think we're going to start with, let's start with this palette. And try to get my paintbrush to stay still. I think we're going to start at the top here. So we're going to start with this one. And I think I want that to have the yellows and oranges. So I think we're going to work with these two colors here. So this color and this color. And I think I'm going to go with a smaller brush. And I'm not doing it very neatly because I'm going to come through and I'm going to smooth it out with the water. Take care, Dawn. And then we're going to just use water. Thank you. Yes, you do. Because you have this book. You can do watercolor in this book. The paper does buckle, but it doesn't peel. And just like any other paper, you just have to be careful how much water you use and how much scrubbing of the brush against the page you use. You know, if you scrub too hard on any paper, it's going to start to come apart. So, all right, so there's the yellow part of it. So I'm just going to dry that. Then we're going to take some clean water. We're going to go into the orange area. And very carefully add that. Yeah, it's the Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron. Yes, I started off doing the page in Rita Berman's book, but we finished that one, so I'm going to see what we can get done on this one. Alright, now I'm going to take that water and I'm dabbing it on my hand so it's not too heavy, but not so thin that it's not going to move and blend. Hello, Catherine. Oh, thank you so much for the gifting. I do appreciate it. Congratulations to everybody that was gifted a membership. Can we get some exclamation point love in the chat for Catherine, please? Thank you, Catherine. That was very sweet. And And we're going to come in with that yellow here. And then we're going to lift some of it off. And then we're going to use a little bit of burnt sienna at the base. Like so. Alright, and then just to add a little bit of brightness to them, I'm going to use a little bit of saffron yellow. I think you already have it, Christina. So we'll use a little bit of that saffron just at the very tips, just to give a bit of brightness to the edge of the flowers. Welcome back. There we go. All right, now for the poppy there, we're going to put this group aside and we're going to start working with, so we're going to, we're going to do the purples there first. So we're going to use lilac. So we're going to use this one and we're going to use the lilac. You snuck in, did you? Yes, you snuck in and I missed you. I am so sorry. So we're going to just add a little bit of this purple to it. And again, I'm going to come through and I'm going to lift most of it off, because we're going to come in with a little bit of blue as well. Alright, now we're going to use some blue. So I'm going to use, I think, Horizon, no, I want cobalt blue. So that would be this one. Alright. And then we're going to rinse that off. And then we're going to take our clean water and blend that in. Too much water. And then just going to lift off some of that just to soften it up a little bit. Like so. We're going to take a little bit of yellow. This yellow. So I'm going to take a little bit of the cadmium yellow. I'm just going to dampen it with the brush because I don't want a whole lot of water on it. So. Then we're going to do the same thing with Horizon Blue. Just going to wet this with the water. And we're going to come in there with that. Just going to use a little bit of that darker blue on there too. There we go. So those are those ones. Now we're going to start getting into really bright colors here. So we're going to take the larger brush now. And we're going to start with cadmium scarlet, which is this one here. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, now we're going to use the next color on top of that, so we're going to use cadmium red. That's too much, so we're going to blend it down a little. Had too much water on there. Just blend it in as I go, using that water to make the paint darker where I need it and softer where I don't. Thank you. And I'm just going to bring those together. And then red. Actually, I had one a little bit darker, so I think I'm going to go with Algerian Crimson instead. No, maybe, no, we're going to go with maroon. Just going to go with a little bit of maroon. Alright. Then we're going to just blend that out a little. Take a little tiny bit of that orange red. And blend it in. Then we're going to find the black. Now this set has several different blacks. So they've got a red black, a green black, a purple black. Lots of different blacks. I'm going to go with the Sumi red. So as you can see, it has that red undertone, and that's what we're going to use for that. Put this one aside because I'm going to need it again. Like so. Which still gives us our red color in there, but it gives us that black for the spotting of the seed area of the flower. Now if I want to, I can just take a little bit of water and spread that around a little bit, keeping the majority of the dot where it belongs, like so. Like so. Okay, now for this one here, I want more of a purple. So I'm going to use Aurora Violet for that. And the Auroras are really kind of cool because as you can probably see, they look brown. And they will come out a different color once I add water. Yes, they're all from the same set. This is the 100 box set. And I'm going to add just a touch of white to it. Now I'm going to do the whole area. And then I'm going to come through with the water and lift, or the dry brush, and lift it off. Okay, now we're going to rinse that. So this is the Anganzai Tambi 100 set. You can get again lots of different sets of the Gansai Tambi. This is the full 100 box set that Bob got me for my birthday. And once we get it all blended together, I'm going to take a wet brush and we're just going to clean some of it up. then we're going to dry that. Then we're going to take a small brush with the yellow color. And we're going to go in and put in the centers of the flowers. Like so. And we'll ignore the fact that it looks like a mess. No, there is not. I have not linked it because I wasn't expecting to do them today. But I have linked them in the past. They are available on Amazon. I wasn't sure if we were going to get to them today, so I did not link them. Alright, so now we're going to go back to the green. And we're going to add that green in here. And I think I want a little bit more green. And a little bit of this. So I got some sad news the other day. I don't know if I told you about it yesterday or not. I told Bob about it yesterday. Alex, that little store that I used to go to, the art store, Runaway Arts, is closing their doors. So they'll be closing in November, which is one of my favorite art stores. Kind of made me very sad. So if you live in Oregon, you want to get to Runaway before they close. Oh, I missed her shoulder. I missed some skin. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah. Yes, that is where we went for the pan pastel sale. All right, now for the lily, we're going to start with, I think sap green, and then go into a little bit of pea green, like that. And then some pea green. Yeah. Yeah, in Salem there's not a whole lot of craft stores, so was a great store for art supplies. It's not like a crafty, only crafty store. It has a lot of just art supplies, which we don't have a lot of out here. So it was definitely a needed store. And I'm coming in with some white. And I think I need to dry that first and then come in with the white. So I'm just going to take the awesome, Marilyn. Enjoy the pool. All right, now we're going to come in with that white again. We want the green in there, but we don't want the green to be so heavy that it looks like a green flower. If you've ever seen a calla lily, they have that green undertone in them, but they are quite white. Sometimes they have a little bit of yellow in them, but at least all the ones I've ever seen anyway. I'm not sure if there's any hybrid ones out there that have different colors in them, but they have a very bright yellow center area where their pollen is, but most of the rest of the flower. And I'm just building the layers of the white over top of the green, so the green still shows through a little bit. Especially down at the bottom. There. November 1st. Hello, Joyce. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, they're closing November 1st. pale yellow. This. Actually, I'm going to use rose beige, which is a peachy color. Yeah, they've already started advertising for them. I might go in and see what their marker sales are going to end up being like, because there's a few markers I have to replace. And if I can get them really cool, really cheap, then might as well get the Copics, you know. Alright, now we're going to use a little bit of this one. Thank you, Joyce. And then we're going to take a touch of this yellow. Like so. Alright. Then we're going to clean up these ones out of her hair, because we don't want purple in them. The green I'm using is Sap Green Light. Alright, oh, and I need to do that flower too. this color. Alright, so I am using pale pink. Yeah, they did have some really good sketchbooks. Then we're going to take the brush. I'm using a paper towel to keep the brush dry so that I can lift off any excess water. Now we're going to use white. So we're just using straight white. They have two different whites in here. One is a little bit more of a cream white, where this one is straight white. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. And then we'll rinse it out. Hey Gabby, welcome from Costa Rica. Bye Dawn. Have a good day. There we go. All right. And now the yellow. So this is lemon yellow. think we're going to put some yellow on these here. Like so. And I want to put a little bit of orange in there. All right. Now we're going to move down a little bit, and we've got her shoulder here, so I've got to put a little bit of color on that. So we're going to use the rose beige and then the potter's pink. Right, and then potter's pink should be this one. I'm going to take the wet brush and just blend it a little bit. Then we want a little bit of this one. There we go. All right, so fixed her shoulder. Now we've got another flower there, so we need more green. All right. We're gonna spread that a bit. And we're gonna get some white. Just gonna make sure that I've got a good heavy white there. Then I'm just going to bring it down into the pink. A little heavier here. And yellow. Thank you. A little bit of orange. All right. Now I need, which one has it? This one. Now I'm going to use a little bit of cobalt violet and old mauve for the, along with some white. Where is it? There it is. This is just a little bit to get us started. All right, now this one. Hey, Nessa. Welcome, welcome. Museum aquarels, I think 140. Oh, I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure it's like 140 something. I don't know. I'd have to look. Maybe it's 100. I'd have to look at the box that my full set came in. They might be just 72. Like I said, I'd have to look at my box. I know that I don't know if they upped those ones or if it was the other ones that they upped. Hold on a sec, I'll see if I can find my box. Oh, snap, crackle, pop. Oh, yeah, I think that box is buried. Yeah, I'd have to. I'm not sure. I would have to get into my swatch charts and bring that one up, and then I'd be able to tell you. I think it's 100, but I'm not sure. Like I said, I will look later if it's okay with you. Alright, now we're going to use forest green for the clover leaves. Yeah, how many are in the full set of the aquarels? Angela will know. I can't remember right off the top of my head. And my brain is doubting itself on what it thinks it knows. Was it 76? Yeah, I think that is right because it was an odd number, but it wasn't a huge number. So I think 76 would probably be right. I think it's just a couple of their sets that are up into the hundreds. Well, Nessa, I really actually like the ChromaFlow pencils. Shannon doesn't like them, and the reason why Shannon didn't like them is when she got her first set, they really smelled extremely bad, and she hasn't liked them since. I don't know if she was ever able to use them and enjoy using them, but personally, I like them. All right, so there's our greens there. Now we've got some holly kind of flowers here too, so we're going to use a little bit of a dark green on that too. Yeah, mine didn't smell either. Mine did not smell either. But some people's did, which is perfectly fair. I don't like stinky pencils either, and if mine had come in smelling, I would have left them at the doorstop too. Just saying. But personally, I do like them. All right. Okie dokie. Now, so now we're at the bottom here. I'm trying to decide if I should go back up to the top or if I should finish up the bottom. I think I'm going to go all the way down. Good night, Gia. Have a wonderful week. All right, so this one at the bottom, we're going to use some interesting ones. So let's start with where am I? There I am. Let's start with let's start with opal violet. And I need, where's my brush that I need? There it is. Let's see how well this works. Alright, now we're just going to take a little bit of this. Come in there like that. Then we'll take a little bit more of that opal violet Just soften it up a little bit. Like so. Yeah, I kind of like that. Alright, that's what we're going to do then. Hello, Taylor. Alright, and then back over here with that purple. I think we need a little bit more. Is that one? Now I'm adding a little bit of the transition color in the purple as well, just for the edges in small amount. And then we come in with the other. Make sure you got lots of water on it so that when you blend it in, it blends it in, not just puts opaqueness over top. Like so. Thank you. I'm not all that great with it, but I'm learning. Slowly picking up different things that I can do with it and just playing with it and hoping that it turns out better than other things I've tried to do with it. Because there are some things that I have tried to do with watercolor that I'm really kind of ashamed of. And those are hidden far, far away. I have not been able to throw them out because I figure at some point I may be able to fix it. But they're not something that I have yet to pull out to fix. Okay. Whew. Yes. Hi, Shannon. Yes, we know how to get you out of lurk mode. Mention the smelliest pencils in the world for you. I know. I know the reason why you don't like them. And you are 100% in the right. You know, if my pencils came in smelling like dog doo doo, I would not have kept them in the house either. Never would have used them. Yep, she definitely had a valid reason. Right. All right, I'm going to move it down a little bit here so that we can actually see what I'm doing and the mess we're making here. All right. There we go. Whew. I'm going to do this one back here too before I forget. Yeah, they smelled terrible. Hers smelled horrible. And yeah, that's never a good thing when pencils come in smelling bad. I'm glad church was good. Aww. The poor puppy. But no, I want Shannon as my mommy. And that is why most of the time I'm a foster fail, because I just can't do it. Not you. You're not allowed to have a puppy. Do not be delivering a puppy, Shannon. I'm just saying. You want to come visit? Fine, but don't bring a puppy with you. My husband would love you. I would be irritated with you. Yeah. Okay, we're done visiting now. Time to go home. Shannon, don't do it. That's all I'm going to say. Just don't do it. I see any boxes on my doorstep with holes in them because I get home before he does. Just saying. Shannon, I thought we were friends. See where your loyalties lie. With the dogs. With puppies. He's got jokes, exactly. You know who that someone is, right? Mm-hmm. Puppies are wonderful. And I do love puppies. However, with working and everything else, it's not fair to the puppy to only see us for a short period every day. Whew. Wasn't expecting it to be so hard to paint these large petals, but trying to keep the right colors from this color shifting paint in the right areas. Thank you, Angela. I really like this paint set. It's got all the colors. Oh my goodness. I did not notice that we had gone half an hour over. So I am going to finish up this flower, and then we're going to, well, the petals of this flower, and then we're going to call it a day. So this one here is the Aurora Violet. So the colors that I'm using is Aurora Violet and Opal Violet. Now I'm taking some of the Aurora Violet and I'm putting it on the palette so that I can just take little tiny bits of it with water and put it onto the Opal Violet. So that it's not as intense. All right. All right, and then we're going to go back with the Opal and just blend them together. All right. Now I'm going to zoom you out. Because, yeah, I got into what I was doing and voila, it's half an hour past time to leave. But that's okay, because we got quite a bit done. All right, I'm going to zoom you out just a little bit further here. There we go. Let's come in. There. All right, so there we have her so far. I'm going to probably continue working on this off screen and get that happens. Yeah, that definitely happens. Get that completed. Now, if you can see the purples at all, there's an opalescence to them. So when you move them, they change color. So hopefully I will get this finished at some point. I wasn't going to say anything, thanks. Yeah. No, we weren't going to say anything. We were waiting for you to get it finished. But that is what we have done so far today. So we got the flowers done in her hair, as well as the water lily there. And we also got this finished. So this is now a full scene. I'll move that over there so you can see the full scene. So we got that finished off as well. I will come through a little bit later with some colored pencil and add those shadows so that you're not getting that harsh buildup of line there, but we'll come through and finish that off before the end of the day. Maybe, hopefully, before the end of the day. So those are the two things that I've done. I just got to make sure that that stickles is dry before I put something down on it. So those are what have been finished today. All right, guys, so I don't know what to do for September. I'm just saying. If you have any ideas on what to do for September, or a prompt or something that that we can figure out together, because I have no clue. My brain is going, yeah, I don't know. So if you can leave me a comment below the video, send me a text message, whatever you want to do, with some ideas of what to do for September, please let me know and I will take a look and see what we can do. I don't have a lot of space stuff, so that might not work well for me. All right, everybody, thank you all very much for coming and hanging out. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And of course, always, always relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye for now.